This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Arkeen's Competitions. Delighted to be joined by Hamzah Sheeraz out here in Dubai. Yeah, just finished a hard training session. Good to see you here, mate. Obviously my first time, and saw you out there, so I had to let you know, mate. Yeah, good to see you, man.
No, likewise, man. Likewise, just ticking over, staying active. My official fight camp starts on the 15th. So, yeah, we're all good, man, staying active.
Absolutely. Obviously, Dubai, do go here quite a lot. Yeah, I do see you all the time. I'm sure it's a thing you said that you always after your fights you always go here. So, yeah, good to get training here as well. So, always enjoy your time here in the UAE.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly, man. I think after my next fight, I'll be permanently out here. So, listen, I've been coming here for since I've been about 8 years old, on and off. But yeah, I'm enjoying it out here, and I'll get peace of mind out here. So it's all good, bro.
Definitely, for sure. And obviously it comes timely with a massive announcement for yourself. Yep. February 22nd, Carlos Adames, WBC World Title. Yeah, kind of like the worst kept secret in boxing. I think everyone knew. Obviously we knew you were fighting for a world title, but there was a lot of discussion on opponents, but Adames is the one. Yeah, it must be buzzing to get this over the line.
Yeah, 100%. It was meant to happen after the Austin Williams fight we were just talking about. But listen, now it's all done, signed and sealed. We got the date. It's just about locking in now. You got to remember, I put myself in the shoes of an 8-year-old Hamzah Sheeraz who always wanted to win world titles, and like I said, at that age, if you asked me if I ever thought I'd get here, the answer would be like, no, not really. But listen, now I'm here. It's only right I make it happen, and come February 22nd, there'll be, inshallah, a new WBC Middleweight Champion.
I was going to say, it was something that was sort of known about for a while on Carlos Adames. So like, when it got announced, like, what was the reaction like? You know, it was sort of expected in a way. It was a bit not deflated, obviously it was massive, but it was a bit like sort of an unexpected announcement.
Do you know what it was for me? I knew the fight was signed obviously before the announcement, but for me it was the other cards on the fight. How big that card is, and especially being a part of it. I can only thank His Excellency Turki Sheikh for, like I said, allowing me to be part of it, keep continuously giving me the platform, because I've always said, listen, you give me the platform and I'll deliver. And listen, since I've been given the opportunities, I have been delivering, and this is just another day in the office. And like I said, a lot more at stake, but nothing that I haven't seen before.
You mentioned there about the card, and it brings me on to a question I wanted to ask you. And I asked you before the Denny fight about the idea of it being at Wembley and this and that, and you said, as a fighter, it's not really something you think about because you are focused on. Is it the same for this? Is it the same for this? I know it's a massive card, but is it the same for this? Like, because it's, the ultimate goal for yourself is winning the world title. You don't really care about anything else.
Literally, and especially with how much is at stake, I'm going to be more dialed in than I ever was before. So I know you hear the expression like, put the blinkers on and that's it, we'll crack on. But this is literally it. It will just be all about myself versus Adames and me capturing that title. And I suppose I can catch up with the other fights the next day.
Another thing for yourself, news I did want to touch on, signing with Goldstar as well. Yeah, I know that Spencer Brown was probably an advisor for quite a while now, but yeah, I guess to get it signed with Goldstar is a good announcement for yourself too.
Yeah, man, listen, Spencer's a great guy. He's I met him at the Fury versus Usyk, the first press conference. I remember meeting him there, and what a nice guy he was. And he's done a lot for me, a hell of a lot. And boxing needs more people like him, needs a lot more people like him. But listen, signing with him, being a part of the same people that Tyson Fury is associated with, listen, it speaks for itself. And like I said, all I've got to do is just keep delivering.
You mentioned there about sort of looking back at that 8-year-old Hamzah Sheeraz that win the world title, and I remember speaking to you before the Mitrofanov fight, and you sort of spoke about middleweight at a world scene, and you said, like at the time, it was a sort of a bit of a mess in a way, but you said, for someone like yourself, that's a great opportunity, and through yourself, from the performances you put in, it shows now after having an explosive 2024, the opportunity that you put yourself in. So was that like always the goal, that that a world title was very soon because of sort of the mess that the middleweight was in on a world level?
Do you know what it was? I always said that I've got to put myself in a position where I can't be denied, and that's the position I got myself in from the Mitrofanov fight. After that, what was it? Liam Williams, then Austin Williams, and Tyler Denny. So the step up was like, it was done correctly, and like I said, I'm in a position where now I can't be denied, and the only possible outcome that made sense was fighting for a world title, and that's exactly what we got. So yeah, going back to what you were saying, the way I've done it, the way my team and myself have manoeuvred, I'd say is probably in the best way that we could have done it.
And for yourself, when you look at big moments like fighting for a world title, do you think that allows for moments of reflection? Like, during your career, I'm sure you don't look back too much, but when you do have a big milestone upcoming, like your first world title fight, do you think it allows for that moment of reflection?
Of course. I think once I win it and capture it, I've always said that will be like the first chapter of Hamzah Sheeraz's career finished, and then it's like from world titles, the main kind of chapter where I can really capitalise, and it's just about getting it over the line and then making it happen. But yeah, like you said, upon reflection, I suppose I really will reflect a bit after I've won it, inshallah.
And when it comes to opportunities for a world title, I think you've probably talked about with every single middleweight champion. Obviously, Lara was a name mentioned, Janibek that we'll get onto. Yeah, I guess, was it always going to be Adames, or was that, I know the Lara fight was spoken about, was that any truth to that?
No, there was a little bit of negotiation, but nothing, because the Adames fight was more or less locked in after I beat Amma Williams. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen, because I was mandated, but it just didn't really get announced. I was mandated, and then I knew that fight was next. So when the WBO ordered me to fight Janibek, it kind of made no sense. And that's what Mauricio was saying about them not having communication with other governing bodies, because something could have been done way before. But it's just because I stay silent, really, and I don't really talk too much on Twitter or whatnot. People make their own accusations, etc., which they're entitled to do, obviously. But I was always destined to fight Adames first anyway. So that was the fight that was going to happen regardless of anything else. And that's exactly what happened.
Definitely, yeah. I did want to bring you up to a tweet that was done by Janibek. Obviously, after the fight, obviously the fight didn't fall off, but the purse bids all sort of got cancelled. Janibek tweeted, because he'd obviously gone back and forth with Adames as well. Did they decide to fight each other with 3 laughing emojis? Dear fans, now you know who is who. So I guess more claims that you and Adames were avoiding to fight him. Like, how would you respond to that?
It makes no sense, because listen, he got the offer to fight me as well, and then he turned it down for whatever reason, because he had his IBF mandatory, and he couldn't fight me. So it's literally the same thing that's happened to him has happened to me, but way before. But I suppose if it boosts his ego, if it feeds his ego, then listen, so be it. Let him crack on, because I know, God willing, I'll get the win done. I'll get the win on February 22nd. Janibek will get his scene too.
Definitely. And I think by the time February 22nd comes around, it would have been 12 months since the Liam Williams fight, which has been 4 fights in 12 months for yourself. So you've been active, which probably made up for lost time after a frustrating 2023, I'm sure you would say. But I think not only keeping active, but making statement performances. How do you look back on that 12 months of a real statement of intent on a world scene?
It's been great. It's been great. And I can only give a huge shout out to my coach, Ricky. Listen, the way we work together, unbelievable, and the way he goes about certain things, and all I have to do really is listen. I mean, I understand we have our core team who deals with like all the business side, the contract sides, but ultimately it comes down to fighter and coach, and sometimes I feel like the coaches don't get enough credit. I understand it's the fighter's job to deliver, but you can only deliver to a certain degree under instructions, and that's exactly what I've been doing with Ricky, so just a huge shout out to him.
How key is that relationship with Ricky? Because when it comes to coaches, he's one that's rated very highly, and you've been on this journey with him for quite some time now, and I'm sure you, as you say, you would have had the highs and the lows from obviously the Skeet fight, etc. But what has that relationship been like with Ricky? And because you're still on him almost like side by side in a way.
Yeah, he's good, man. He's good. Listen, I've been with him for coming up to 5 years now, and I think people, as soon as they hear fighters go with certain coaches, they think, yeah, fucking hell, he's going to become a great fighter now. It takes years. You've got to bond. It's just like having a girlfriend, to be fair. You just have to. You got to build a relationship. You got to know each other. Do you know what I mean? And you got to trust each other as well. And that's a massive aspect of this sport that people don't really understand.
Definitely. I wanted to quickly move on to a guy that you've spoken about many times, Chris Eubank Jr. He fought in Saudi last time. Obviously, you was in Saudi. Was there much, I guess, conversation between the two? I know he's been pretty quiet on your name whenever it's been mentioned, other than the presser with Frank Warren, where he said fight Hamzah Sheeraz. But yeah, I guess in Saudi, was there much conversation with Eubank Jr. when he was out there?
Not really, bro. And when I started to kind of give up talking about him, one of the last things I said was, what's going to happen is I'm going to go on to fight for a world title, Conor Ben's going to do the same, and he's going to be left in the lurch. And what's happened? Exactly that. They can't reach negotiations for whatever reason. I don't know, but I said it before, he's going to be left in the lurch and he's going to think, fuck, I should have took the Hamzah Sheeraz fight. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But listen, like I said, God willing, inshallah, I'll get the win. It still makes a big fight, doesn't it? It still makes a big fight, but he'll have to understand that I'd be the A side. But listen, for that to all happen and for that fight to happen, I have to get over Adames.
Well, there was obviously rumours of him fighting Erislandy Lara. Do you believe much of that?
He should not take that fight because I believe Lara will stop him within 8 rounds, and that's not because I don't not like Chris Eubank Jr. Like, I don't really know the guy, so I can't say that. But this is from a boxing perspective. I think if he wants to do what he wants to do and make as much money as possible, stay clear of Lara.
I know when there was talks of yourself and Chris fighting, there was a lot brandished around, especially about the figure of fighting of the 5 million. And he said in an interview,
he's blown that.
Yeah, but his claim was why he turned it down was like, look, down the line we can make 3 times the amount as much. And this isn't meant in a disrespectful way. Yourself, is that
he's like 50 years old? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He's getting on now. He's getting on in terms of boxing. That makes no sense as well. How can you turn down? I think it was 5 or 6 million. And in his head, he probably thought at the time he'd get more for the Conor Benn fight, which ain't come to fruition. So, like I said, he's been left out in the lurch. It is what it is. You've got to make your decisions based on the sport of boxing and not your ego.
Do you think there is some delusion with him?
Yeah, there is. But he's always been known for that, isn't he? I think sometimes he thinks he's his old man a little bit, but it is what it is. I ain't got nothing against him. If you don't want to fight, you don't want to fight. It is what it is.
One thing you mentioned like previously, you said you talked about being undeniable, and that's always a claim when you called out these names, especially Eubank Jr. and be like, what has he got? I don't know him. Obviously, that's respect for a fighter coming up. But how important, as you say, this fight on February 22nd to become that undeniable, as you say, then everyone's going to need you in a way.
Chris Eubank, he's always banged on about winning the WBC gold and green belt, isn't he? So I'll make it happen. That's the main priority now. This is all out of theoretically speaking. But if I have it, then you can come try and get it.
Comments I actually wanted to bring to your attention, I'm sure you would have seen it, but obviously Denzel Bentley is fighting Brad Pauls this weekend, and in an interview with IFL TV it was brought to the question of his thoughts of you calling Eubank Jr. a pussy. So his response was, Hamzah's a pussy, because he said, for 3 years we were meant to fight, and he said, you should look in the mirror. He said it wasn't in a disrespectful way, but that's sort of the comments he made. I don't know if you had any response to those comments by Denzel?
Do you know what it is? I feel like he's taking this very personally, and what you got to understand is, I don't know him, he don't know me. And when I was chasing the fight with him, he was saying the exact same thing. It doesn't make sense for me to fight Hamzah. So it's kind of like I've got myself in a position where he once was. But listen, there's nothing against him. He can call me a pussy. It is what it is. It's his opinion at the end of the day, innit? I don't even know him. So all I ever look at it is from a boxing perspective. I will never get emotionally involved. It's happened to me before. I learnt from my mistakes, and I promised myself I'd never do it again. So listen, hopefully he beats Brad Paul, and hopefully he beats Janibek, and then I get titles, and we can have a massive unification fight. But wish him nothing but the best, to be fair. Good luck to him.
Absolutely. Final one from myself, Hamzah. And as it does approach of February 22nd, there's a lot of people who did believe in you, young boxing writers, Young Boxer of the Year award. For so long people would tip you to win a world title. How good would it feel to, I guess, repay the faith of everyone that's believed in you for so long of your career?
Especially, listen, getting that Young Boxers Writing boxer, what was it?
Young Boxers Young Boxer of the Year award at the Boxing Writers Awards. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah. And especially at the time I got it, because it was just after the Skeet fight. For them to see what they saw in me at the time, and for me to, God willing, inshallah, honour it, will be a huge, huge way of me saying thank you for them for believing in me and giving me that award.
And in your pro career, does it show a testament of how hard you worked? And I guess to anyone coming through, because not in a disrespectful way, you didn't have the most sort of luxurious amateur career. It didn't come from sort of GB national titles and this and that. But to see what you've done as a pro, I think that allows for a lot of inspiration for people coming through as well.
100 million%. Like, I was speaking to a young fighter the other day from my old amateur club, and he was a bit disheartened, saying that he was going to give up and whatnot. And I jumped on a call with him, and I told him, listen, like, use me as an example to just keep going. Listen, didn't win any national titles, and look where I am today, fighting for a world title. I told him it's all about experience in the amateurs, turning up, experience, enjoy it. And this is to any youngsters who are watching this interview and want to take inspiration from me in the amateurs. Listen, just my advice to you guys would be, listen, do your best, turn up, keep showing up, listen to your coaches, and just stay consistent. Think about the long-term goal. Think about the long-term goal, and listen, it'll all pay off. It'll all pay off, and yeah, God willing, you'll get there one day.
Good words, good words. Hamzah, really appreciate you letting me come to the gym today in Dubai and interview. It's a pleasure to speak to you, mate, and all the best on February 22nd against Carlos Adames. Top, mate. Thank you.